The Denver Broncos are one of the more unique teams in football right now. We felt like they were going to be potential Super Bowl contenders. Some people picked them to win the Super Bowl after they traded for Russell Wilson. Didn't quite work out. Wilson had a tough year. Was it the coaching? Well, that question will probably be answered because they'll at least have a good coach after they trade a first-round pick for Sean Payton, since he decided he wanted to go there. You have Russell Wilson. That's kind of what a lot of this decision is going to come down to. A lot of what the season is going to come down to. Let's talk about where they're at, who they potentially have to re-sign or lose in free agency, and then what they could potentially do this offseason to get back to the promised land. First, let's talk some free agents here. Billy Turner, Kareem Jackson, Cameron Fleming, guys who you don't have to keep them if you don't want to, but if you let them walk, you will have to find a replacement for. The number that you see next to their names is going to be how many millions of dollars Sports Track is projecting them to get. Unless Sports Track did not have a number there, then I put my own. Dalton Risner, probably the one guy you want to make sure you keep. I would say he's the one where it's like, try to make sure you hang on to him. Jermont Jones, I thought had a good season. I'm surprised he's projected for $17 million, though. That feels very high. And if he's supposed to get $17 million, I let him walk there. He did some nice things for Denver, but $17 million, I don't know about that. I let someone else pay that contract is where kind of how I feel. So this means that they will have $9 million in cap space, but their projected cash is $25 million, a little bit higher, and they would need $37 million if they wanted to re-sign everyone on that list. But as I said, I think that letting Jermont Jones walk is probably the move there, which would mean you only need $20 million, and you have $9 million in cap space, $25 million in cash. You could make that work. Definitely. That's again, cash, you don't actually know how much they have, but that's the best projector for kind of how much teams typically spend. So that's kind of a very fascinating way to look at it. So, for the Denver Broncos, what do you do here? You're kind of in a situation where you don't have a ton of cap space to add a ton. You're kind of basically going to have a similar roster to what you had last year. Unless you cut players, and there's players they could cut. I mean, Ronald Darby, someone who you could clear up $9 million if you cut him. Graham Glasgow did not have a great year last year. You could save $11 million by cutting him. Chase Edmonds, I'm convinced, is going to be cut. Save $6 million there. There's a potential for $26 million you could save. Maybe go out and get a receiver. Not a ton of great receivers in this free agency class, but there's some. So that's definitely an option on the table. Go out and, cut some of those guys and try to build a better roster that way, because there are other holes on this roster. It's not so simple as we need Russell Wilson to get better. That's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day, but maybe you could make it easier on him by cutting some guys who aren't playing particularly well right now and replacing the cap space with players who can actually play right now. This chart is where PFF ranked each one, their positional categories, where they ranked in specific positional categories according to PFF. Passing was 24th in football. That's the biggest question mark, right? Can Sean Payton save Russell Wilson? If he can, they're going to get a lot better just simply on that. So in some ways, there's a nice thing of, hey, your issues, where you have to get better at, because their pass blocking and run blocking was middle of the road, but the receiving was also 30th in football. And you just have to think that those two things could be, connected in some ways. Getting more receivers, getting someone to help out Jerry Jeudy here. Courtland Sutton is fine in his role, but they need some more receiving help, I think. And they just need to get healthier, right? Tim Patrick stays healthy, maybe add an extra guy. That's how you could see this receiving core going from bottom of the barrel to at least middle of the road, to make two different analogies there. That's a way that you could definitely see them get better. Running game wasn't spectacular either, but again, get healthier. That should fix that. The run defense was very good. The coverage was very good. Pass rush not so good, but they seemingly got by without having a dominant pass rush. So maybe you could try to build there. Maybe you do something in the draft that could make some sense. I don't know what exactly you do there, but at the end of the day, maybe get a second round pick there or something, because they don't have a ton of draft capital. They got an extra first round pick when they got rid of Bradley Chubb, but then they used that first round pick on Sean Payton, which I'm a fan of. I think it was the right move. I think head coach is absolutely worth a first round pick, but that's just kind of where they're at right now. Is the way that they get better is probably by just getting healthier and players on their team legitimately getting better. That's probably, if they're going to, where do they go from here? That might be where, is if they get better. That's probably what you do. But there is another option on the table. What you see on the screen is Russell Wilson's current contract year in and year out. We are currently in year 2 of this deal. So at the 2023 season, you see his cap number is actually just $22 million. But what's fascinating is obviously it gets higher and higher each year. It goes up to $35 million in 2024, and then is over $50 million for the following 3 seasons. That's a tough contract. And if it sucks, well, then you're in trouble. There is an option, though. If you were to cut him, which would be tough, you'd have $107 million in dead cap in this scenario, meaning you put on $85 million in dead cap just on this season, which should be tough. But is that a potential option? Do you maybe consider that and say, let's just wipe our hands clean with this, acknowledge we made a horrific blunder, suck for a year, just trade away what we have to make the cap work, and then the following season, now we're back to normal? You could make the argument. I don't think I do. I think what I do is I give it one more year, which again, that would be $85 million, so it still wouldn't be great. I think if he sucks, at a certain point, you can make the decision to just get out of it and say, screw it, we're just going to, take on, a bunch of, money at this point. You could make that argument to try and, tank, essentially. But I think that their defense was so good. I think there is still enough hope for Russell Wilson, even though he's coming off of back-to-back bad years now, because he wasn't great his last year in Seattle either. I don't know. To me, the decision I make is I stick with Russell Wilson. It's just, again, for these things, I want to talk about every angle, I want to leave no stone unturned, right? And I want to talk about just, all the different decisions they could make, and also give my own opinion. Sometimes people get mad when you just say, hey, here's a suggestion of something they could do. People get mad at that stuff. I'll talk, these are fun things for me, fun thought experiments for me. I know they won't. I know the Broncos are certainly not going to say we made a mistake 1 year in and take on $100 million in dead cap. Of course, they're not going to do that, but it's a fun exercise of should you, but I also think they shouldn't. So I don't know. That's kind of how I view all this stuff. I think for me, you hope that, I think the right move was you got Sean Payton. Hope he can fix Russell Wilson. If not, you're screwed. You're screwed anyways. It sucks, but it is what it is. Maybe you rebuild with Sean Payton and, say, hey, hopefully you don't retire for a year and then go somewhere else. But if you do, we kind of get it because, yeah, we screwed this one up. But at the same time, I don't know. The Russell Wilson trade, one that I would have made, right? One that, if you're watching this, you probably would have made that trade too. Not everyone would have, but I think most of us would have said, yeah, that was the right move at the time. Maybe you don't have to give the contract after it, but at the same time, you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Sometimes you're going to take a big swing and you're going to miss, but they haven't missed yet. So, 3 strikes and you're out. Maybe they've the first season counts as 2 swings. I don't know, but you're not out yet. So we'll see what they do. But yeah. Horrible analogy by me. Sorry. Analogy not the best. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. If you like movies, check out my movie review channel. Every single movie title you see on the screen, I have a video about coming out within the next 2 weeks. I'm uploading a video every day for 2 weeks. So definitely make sure you're subscribed there. The link is in the description below. I got some other stuff on there too, some breakdowns of certain scenes I like and things like that, so check it out.